FPUC retro. It's coming under Biden's stimulus, third stimulus. FPUC back to July 25th is what he's representing. $600 a week. It's 20 weeks. It's $12,000. It's an enormous amount of money. It's from July to December. In this overnight LALATE video, I throw back to how to apply for UI, PUA, and FPUC. It's very important to determine which period was which period for FPUC, because you want to ensure that you get coverage under third stimulus package. Enjoy this overnight LALATE video on unemployment. PUA and UI could pay you thousands of dollars under a stimulus package, but will it be continued under a second stimulus program? Hey everybody, this is LALATE with a second stimulus check and stimulus package update. Thanks for tuning in. This is one of 3 stimulus package updates for today. Earlier today, we delivered a really great video, our first, about the stimulus check itself, when you should get it, how much you'll be getting, whether it's $1,200 or $2,000 for 6 months. Later, we detailed new lending instruments and new data that shows the Federal Reserve has $2.3 trillion to give you and has already allocated it in a second stimulus package. But let's get right to your PUA and UI questions. As you know, that is always our third stimulus check video of the day, and I'll be answering them shortly, but a lot of viewers asked me overnight to go through PUA and UI slowly, and this is separate apart from those terms that we went over yesterday, and they wanted me to go over how to apply the application itself. Even though this channel has done it before, a lot of you are brand new, so I'm going to do it right now. And you know, when you apply for PUA or UI, you need to know which one you're applying for, and you need to know where to go. First of all, the place you go is your state's unemployment website. It's all administered on your state's unemployment website. You go in there. Most states require you to apply for UI first and before you do PUA. There are 2 types of viewers to this channel, and let me slow it down again. There are viewers who are W-2 that work for Macy's, that receive a W-2 check. And when I say work for, I mean currently used to work for. Obviously, you are currently laid off. The other type of person is a self-employed individual, or a person who has their own business that has an LLC or a corporation, or they're self-employed. What you need to do is in most states, you have to apply for UI first and determine eligibility for that. If you are an independent contractor, if you're on the right side, on this side, the camera's reversed, as you know. If you're a UI person, independent contractor, self-employed, you need to apply for UI first and get denied before you get PUA. If you are an employee, a W-2 or a former employee, you apply for UI. Now, let's back up and let me slow that down even more. Viewers have asked, am I PUA and UI? Can I be both? No. To be PUA, you must be ineligible for UI. UI is unemployment benefits. So to get PUA benefits, you must be ineligible for UI. Before I continue, I did this in the last 2 days of videos, but I'll repeat it again. The $600 from the federal government per week is not PUA. I'll repeat again. The $600 from the federal government is not PUA. That's not what it is. It's FPUC. So please do not get that confused. All right, so you're sitting here, you've not applied for PUA or UI, and you don't know how to do it. Well, first thing is you go to your state's unemployment website. Okay, so you go there and you usually set up a username and password. You go in. Then some states have 1 application for everything. Some states have 2 applications. Some states require you to do the UI, and then you wait for the whatever that processing is before you do the PUA. Some just do it together. Every state is different. When you go in to apply, you need to see whether or not it's one application or it's two applications. It'll actually show it on the website. In the case of some states, you have to do the UI application first. Now, if you are an employee, remember, you're only one or the other. You are not both UI and PUA. You are never UI and PUA. You're only one or the other. So if you are going in and you think, I'm watching this guy, I'm clearly UI, then make sure you focus on UI. If you are PUA, make sure you focus on PUA. And here's where I want to help you. And this is the most common error when doing this. If you are going through the application as an independent contractor and it asks you who was your last employer, you do not put your LLC. You do not put your incorporation. You do not put yourself. That's not how the form is asking the question. Yes, your LLC may employ you. Yes, you may pay yourself through your LLC. That's not the way the unemployment websites are set up. When they ask the word employed, employment, or employer, it is only a W-2 situation. Employer, Macy's. Employment, working in the Macy's makeup department. Employee, you. It is the word employer, employment, and employee has nothing to do with an independent contractor situation. So when you're going through the application questions and you're an independent contractor or self-employed and that asks who is your most recent employer, the answer is none. You did not have a recent employer. You are self-employed. What was your most recent place of employment? None. You were self-employed. How much have you sought employment in the last week? No, you are self-employed. So you need to focus on that. All right. So let's go to how the states sometimes phrase it, because the states are slightly different, but they're generally about the same. This is how New York phrases it. You should apply if you're unable to work as a result of the coronavirus pandemic, and any of the following apply to you. This is for PUA. Self-employed, independent contractor, working for an app-based business, gig worker, farmer, diagnosed with COVID-19 or have COVID-19 symptoms and are seeking a diagnosis, living with a household member who has been diagnosed with COVID-19, providing care for a family member diagnosed with COVID-19, providing primary caregiver for a child unable to attend school due to COVID-19, unable to reach place of employment due to COVID-19, scheduled new employment but cannot reach it because of COVID-19, major breadwinner of the house died from COVID-19, place of employment closed because of COVID-19, have insufficient work history and affected by COVID-19, or otherwise not qualified for regular or extended UI benefits and affected by COVID-19. You cannot get PUA if you can telework or are receiving paid sick leave. All right, so that's how New York phrases it. California goes through the words, and let me go to the last one, which is very important. I want you to listen carefully to this. This channel has been around, as you know, for 2 months, and we're coming up on our 2-month anniversary, the 25th. 10,000 viewers. I think we're reaching almost today. 1.6 million viewers. Yesterday, our biggest day of traffic and most viewers ever. So thank you for joining us. And the very first day I did this video, I went through PUA's eligibility terms, but I used California's language. And I want you to hear how California's a little bit different than how New York's website sounded that I just read to you. In California, which is EDD, it says you qualify for PUA if you are partially employed or because of COVID-19, which is very fascinating. So basically, let's say you're an accountant, and because of COVID-19, the lockdown order, you were able to get like 4 hours of work instead of your normal 40 hours of work, you qualify for PUA. So partial unemployment is a ground, because of COVID-19, is a grounds for PUA eligibility. Next, after your account is set up, and what do I mean by set up? Let me back up. After you go through the the application process. The following will happen to you. For UI, if you are really a Macy's employee, a former Macy's employee, then you'll get accepted to UI. You're done. Do not think about PUA ever. If you are an independent contractor and you apply to UI, you will hopefully get the denial. You're supposed to get a UI denial. Then you will apply for PUA and hopefully get an acceptance, get an approval. What you'll then show in your portal, and boy, I got this question a lot yesterday, is that your eligibility window is from this date to that date. Now, when you go to apply, you need to indicate the date in which you're impacted due to those eligibility grounds for COVID-19. So if it's something like you got COVID-19 and you just got it yesterday and you were never impacted by the pandemic until yesterday, that's your date. If you were impacted by COVID-19 because of a lockdown on March 23rd is your date. What's important for you to know is that you don't mess up the date. So when you put that date in, it's really next to impossible to change it because these people aren't answering the phone. So viewers asked, hey, I applied yesterday and I put March 23rd, what's going to happen? You'll get retroactive benefits. It won't come necessarily right away, but you'll get retroactive benefits. Another person said, I applied yesterday, I put yesterday's date as my impact date. You're not going to get benefits back to March 23rd. You're not going to get what's called retroactive benefits. So your eligibility window will be from that date that you put, if it's March, to December 31st. You're in a window of eligibility. What happens after that is then you are asked to certify for payments every week. And boy, I remember the videos like the first week of this channel. Everyone said, oh, I got approved for PUA, but I haven't seen any money. Why haven't I seen money? Where's the money? I said, did you certify for benefits? And they're like, what's certify for benefits? So yes, this is what's so really weird, is that when you're approved for UI or PUA, you're not done. You have to certify for weekly benefits. This is what California says. After your account is set up, you must certify for your benefit payments. Certify is answering basic questions for every 2 weeks that tells us you're still employed and eligible to continue receiving benefits. Usually, about a week, you'll start receiving your first benefits. So what does that mean? It means that just because you're eligible for PUA or UI and your claim has been approved, you have to go in and answer a series of questions. And when you answer those series of questions, then you're done for that week. It'll say, hey, you're done for that week. What it'll show in the processing window is a week. It'll show something like a week starting March 23rd, and it'll show processing, which is great. That means you've done it. You're good. And then it'll eventually say paid. Until you do that, you're not going to get paid for that week. Now, what it will show sometimes is the base level benefits of your state. Some states start at 137 a week, some start at 167. It'll show those base level benefits. That's what you're going to get paid per week. Some viewers will ask, where's the $600? It sometimes doesn't show the $600 in it. You're going to get the $600, but it sometimes just doesn't put it in there. Next, how much money you're going to get and when you're going to get the money. So if your date is back in March, you're going to get retroactive benefits. They'll come late. They'll take a while, but you're going to get that plus $600 per week. The $600 from the federal government, which is not PUA. The $600 from the federal government, FPUC, is for weeks that are impacted by COVID-19 from March to July. This channel believes that week of July, which is in the CARES Act, the March bill from members of Congress, is going to be extended when members of Congress reconvene in July. So I really do think you're going to see the extension of that. Let me answer some of your questions now. 59 of them. Wow. Robert, I'm in Florida. Been waiting for a while. Finally got my back pay. Kevin Lee, sounds like I should be getting FPUC and UI, taking care of family member. Yes, you should. FPUC is the $600. And Kevin, I guess he's saying UI because he's an employee. Ken, that was the best explanation I've ever heard. Bravo, big fan. Thank you, Ken. Mostly good stuff. You can get PPP and PUA in the same time in 2 ways. I'm not going over that. Cruzamon, happy anniversary. Thank you. It's coming up. Win Nelson, I've been waiting 2 months, still nothing, but it broke down. But you broke it down good. I understand it now. Thank you. We've done 3 really comprehensive PUA videos. Yesterday and the day before. The day before, I separated the two. Yesterday, I went over the nuance of what's not $600 because everyone thinks $600 is PUA. It is not PUA. This video was to explain to you how to apply. If you want more videos on another part of it, tell me and I'll do it tomorrow. You know I'm going to do something else for tomorrow, but I'll be happy to do that for tomorrow. Win and Nelson, been waiting for 2 months, still nothing, but I understand now. Good, thank you. Darcy, please go through the application. I just did. Hopefully that helped. Pennsylvania does not require you to apply for PUI first. You do qualify for PUA if you're taking care of someone with COVID. Good. Rosie, EIDL grant, does EIDL grant count as income? I do not believe it does. I'm not positive. Mary O'Keefe, how long does it take to this is an EIDL question. Kathy, can you do a video going through all the questions on the different programs and benefits? Thank you. I couldn't because every state's form is different. So I can only go through the eligibility terms and how to do it generally. But if you have questions about your state, answer them. I'll be happy to help you. Patrick, my UI is about to expire in July. I got UI and FPUC, but my roommate got diagnosed for COVID. I also used to be an Uber driver. Is it possible to apply for PUA after my UI runs out? No. So you can't. Most common question I get: can I get PUA when I'm on UI? No. To get PUA, you must be ineligible for UI. Now, I think you're getting confused about your benefits. So your UI is expected to expire in July. Two things. God, FPEUC, I think it's called, or PEUC. I can never remember these acronyms. Extends your benefit weeks beyond the normal UI benefits weeks. So the CARES Act gave you additional weeks of benefits beyond your normal UI benefits. So make sure that that's what you're looking at. Next, your states are extending the number of weekly benefits beyond their normal UI weeks. So that's also good news. Toshiba, can you go through EDD's website? Just did. If you have more questions about EDD, I'm happy to answer them. Jacqueline, I live in Tennessee. I work for a company in Pennsylvania. My last job was in Tennessee when I was an employer. My question is, why I receive back pay from them if I applied in Pennsylvania, or will they start paying when I pay Tennessee? That's all that date of impact. So what is your date of impact? That determines whether or not you have retroactive benefits or not. So to recap, and I know this is always a lot of information, and I try to go slow on these PUA and UI videos because they are so confusing. You're either an employee, a former employee, or a former self-employed individual. If you're self-employed, you're PUA. If you're employee, you're UI. You cannot get UI and PUA because PUA requires you to be ineligible for UI to get PUA. The $600 from the federal government is not PUA. It is something else. It's FPUC. It goes to both UI people and PUA people. So a lot of people 3 days ago, who now no longer repeat it because I've explained it to them, said, hey, I'm on UI and I'm getting PUA as well. I'm getting that $600. No, the $600 is not PUA. You're doing everything right. So if you are an employee and you're getting UI benefits and you're getting $600 a week, you're doing it right. If you're a PUA person and you're getting your PUA benefits at $600 a week, you're doing it right. If you are getting $167 times 2 and $600 times 2 every single week, you're going to jail. It's as simple as that. You have double dipped. You have gone into the system twice. You have gotten money from both mechanisms. Finally, and I don't think I've seen it today's comments, but I saw it, maybe a week ago. Someone said they were approved in their state for both PUA and UI. Boy, that is a hot mess, and that is a real big issue of trouble. So be careful with that. If you have questions in today's video, drop them in the comments below. This is one of 3-second stimulus check videos coming up. 2 EIDL videos, one about grant and one about loan. Loan first and later grant. As always, stay with LA for more.